Yes.
Unfortunately.
Right, it's all called to order this special meeting. Our first order of business is the Milton Creek Reserve project. I was hoping to be able to actually discuss the annual report, get that out of the way first, if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, did you see the report?
Yeah. It has to be submitted by tomorrow. Yeah, I hope everybody got a chance to check it out. The draft that I sent the other day, the 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago.
Is it Heine Human Park or
No, it's the annual,
no? How do you pronounce the park name?
Heine Human, yeah.
Heine Human. Figure if I'm saying it in front of council, I want to know it's there.
Well, we'll divide,
Okay.
get to that. Did anybody have any comments on the changes? Dana, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, just want to make sure. I think
I'm at work, so I have to keep it muted and the screen off.
Okay. I listed the general changes on the email that I sent folks. Does anybody have any comments?
One thing I see is the McCormick Park being there. Just because of that, one of the signs is gone, and got me that sign, and it should be installed right now, so that should already be up, but you can leave it.
Yeah, I can update it. I also checked with Jenny about the docks over at Sand Island and just make sure about that grant. And she was talking about a grant for doing repairs, so I just want to make sure it's within the time frame. Those are the last two things. Other than that, everybody okay with it? Should we?
Just, I think it's Scott, I was.
Oh, yeah, there's.
Get left out, or I just.
Well, let's see. It has no new improvements this year, even though we have a new fence. Wasn't that done? When was that done, Buck?
Probably a little over a year ago.
So it's within our time frame then.
Aye.
It would be within our time frame.
Real close. I don't know for sure. I'd have to go back and look. The only other thing that's really going on there is that we had to remove the swings. Because of the wear on them, and we're still looking into the liabilities of that.
I see.
I'll make changes to reflect that. Anything else? Should we vote on this as with these changes? Changes too. Everybody okay with that?
Make a motion then.
Good.
Make a motion to approve our annual report to be given to the city as
With the
corrections
changes,
are
yeah.
noted.
Okay. Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, that's not here, so. All right, also divvying it up for the presentation, as I recall. Jerry, Nick, Lynn and I, and possibly Howard can be there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I won't be at the table, but I'll be in the audience.
okay. You don't want to present on Dalton Park or anything like that? Give it.
You're giving the presentation on Dalton and all the other parks.
Well, we can divvy it up, and if you don't want to, that's fine. Okay, did you want to do urban and I don't think he. I don't care.
Anytime I get an opportunity, Scott, I'm going to say something.
Yes, but we're hoping just to keep.
I'm back.
If you're then McCormick Park, you would like to do that and there's also, I should have asked about this. I never got anything from Jacob and Howard on Sand Island. Nothing. You fine with
I've
it?
almost been thinking of asking to do a report to Sand Island. That one is so hard to ever get to know anything about it or anything. About that.
You can always rent a campsite out to get over there, right?
There you go.
Hey, I went there last week.
Spend a night,
No,
just day trip.
But the bullet points are, you're all fine with that, then just look at the feedback. Okay, even though it's after we voted for it. All right, so, yeah, we'll just, I'll email you with your.
Slide numbers or whatever.
If you're there, if you want to do, no,
Okay.
it'll do, yeah. So. That's that. We'll get on to the Milton Creek Woodland Reserve project. I sent everybody out something. Kind of. Give us some direction in the meeting. So if anybody wants to. Chime in here with any, anything about what I've sent or if you don't, if it's. There's other ways we should be going about it. As we said, we had the start of the, we had agreed with the project scope at the other special session and have listed the, general things that we agreed to. So, the biggest thing we agreed to collectively manage the project as a commission. So, just put this together that has what we've pretty much discussed previously. So, you're looking to, scope the project. That's the, I think the objective, the main objective of this meeting. Has everybody reviewed this? And I know Jerry hasn't had a chance.
just
Dana, did you get a chance to review it?
I took a glance. I didn't go through it completely, you know.
Did you guys want to go through it then?
I'm not opposed, but I don't want to speak for everyone.
probably a good
I-
idea.
I would love to discuss it as a group, yeah.
Look, you go through the, what I sent out and then we can discuss. However, it goes from there. As I said, we did the special meeting. We agreed to possibly establish the reserve on the port and St. Helens property along Milton Creek. It's been identified in the master plan for a trail. We're trying to expand the trail to go with into the port property and to a broader network of trails that are in the works or have already been established within the master plan. We had discussed other related initiatives and looking for input on with stakeholders and communicating with stakeholders and with possibly others to try to get the word out. And also looking at funding and resource options. So broke it down to phases. As I said, these phases do overlap. What we're looking at is trying to approach the council with the idea of a reserve. We're still trying to fine tune it to what we want to all include as a with everybody's input on it. And then, also, it's kind of a, I think, how to best approach it, since there's also the port portion of the property or the idea. Whether to include them from the outset, because I don't want to exclude them, because if they have some input that might have ramifications on the whole idea, you know, be nice to have that. And also, they should be, you know, also have input on what is a joint effort. So that's what my feelings about that particular aspect. Any questions so far?
If I understand correctly, the property that they're trying to sell isn't gonna affect our reserve or anything like that.
From what Buck just told us, yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the maps that we have and with that Jerry was so good to get for us, and Lynn had gotten it also. Shows just a little bit of an area that could be developed within what we're looking at. Where the Camas field is. So all the rest is kind of in the 100-year floodplain setback. So, I mean, it's. I don't see a large pushback on that.
Scott, I'll say the same thing I said all the time. If you look at this map. And this map here. You kind of overlap them here. So my thinking on this, and I don't know, this is my thinking. Is that. You know, we would like the old Boise Park is in. The 100-year floodplain, so it looks like it's in this area right here. We might have to get a little more accurate map. So I think we should, you know, the city would probably be willing to, you know, maybe let us develop that. And Buck, we're not talking about building this park tomorrow, so. Yeah. The other area that's developable is this area right here. And if you look on the map that Lynn gave us last time in the floodplain, it's kind of this little neck that sticks out here, this little peninsula here. And this is basically hard rock and it has a Camas field. It's approximately 2 to 3 acres. And then just south of that is a real nice little forest. So, you know, my thinking is, you know, I would like to see, you know, the historic Boise Park to be developed as a city park. I'd like to see the Camas field to be saved since it's in the city limits and a lot of Camas fields have been being destroyed. Also, if you look at this map here, there are lots that can be developed here and here, and also down in where the Camas fields are. But there's really no paved road or anything going down there. So I do see the city eventually selling these lots along here and those being developed. But I would like to see, I can't remember what Buck told me. I wrote it down somewhere. I think there was 100-foot setback from the creek. Buck, do you remember?
It's 50 feet, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was 50 feet. Okay.
Um,
But, you know, I think the other thing we need to ask for, because this map does show a trail that goes down through here. And as Scott said earlier, it is in the city, what'd you call it? The
Master plan.
master plan. It is in the master plan. And this trail is, once you get about to here, it's pretty well developed. Up here, there's really no trail. This is just kind of a parking lot. And then down here, it's not developed, but you can walk it. It would be very easy to. It'd be very easy to have this trail developed. I mean, it's not a big deal, but get back, I don't want to lose my train of thought. So I think we need to request from the city that we need, you know, we'd have to go down and look, but we need enough setback. So when these lots are eventually sold, which I think they will be, that we can still build a trail through there. So
thing I'm seeing on the city property is the Boise Park. Don't see that as a big issue. The Camas Field is really way down here. But I think it's something that should be saved, and then an appropriate setback so we can build the trail through here. Now, on the other side, we met with the Board of Columbia County. And they were they were very receptive, as they would like to, I don't know, donate it to, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So-
something like John. could have-
Yeah, so, we need to decide what we want to happen on the port side of the property. We definitely want a trail. And as I said, there's also, which is really cool, especially over here, back, it's quite a ways of back, but there's numerous little quarries that are really interesting. They're historic quarries. And as Lynn has said many times, and all of us have said, Lynn really kind of started this project, not me. But she said, this is something that we really need to save, for the future, because it's such a unique area. We got the park, the historic Boise Park, we got the Camas Field, we got the trail, we got the creek, which is really cool in this area. And we have all these little quarries along here that are really fun to kind of explore. And as far as the process is concerned, I'm really not sure what the process is. I guess we need to decide what we want to do, or talk with John and see what we want to do, what they want to do. We got to talk to the port to see what they want to do. And I'm sure there's going to be, lawyers involved in, the setbacks if we want one. What is the port willing to do? This process is probably going to take several years, if not 4 or 5. That's my thinking on it for right now.
Yeah, what I think what we're trying to do is probably try to make a wish list of what all things that we want for this. And then approach the council and give them that wish list. Because all it can do is, say no. If we omit some things, then, it'll be difficult to go back.
I said this is one thing I want to say real quick. We got to get an accurate map, Nick, like you said, I didn't, but this area, this whole area right here is probably about 10 acres. And the only area that, that's probably sellable is where the Camas Field is.
Developable.
Developable, yeah, developable.
I'm wondering if with the plots that are up near further up the creek, past the Boise Park, if there's already a the 100-year flood zone plus the setback. I'm wondering if that setback is from the flood zone, or is it
In the center
defined
of the stream or the banks of the stream.
stream or from the setback? When I'm not sure about that.
Along the river is usually the high water line.
Okay,
So I'm assuming it's the same for the creek.
but if it's
Jacob's question.
if it's a 100-year flood zone, there's in 100 years, there'll be that high water line. Right? So I'm not sure.
If you look at this map. I think what Scott's talking about is there is a strip of land that's in the 100-year floodplain. Along the other lots there.
Yeah, and plus, when this city develops those sites, if they, have a contingency with the developer, saying that the back portion of the lot is not able to be developed because it's being set back from the creek and with the reserve. I wonder if that's something that we could talk to John about, if that's something that they could put in the language when they market these lots.
Well, my thinking on that, Scott, is that prior to that, there's a plot adjustment that shows that, where the trail is city property.
Isn't it all city property right now?
Well, it is city property now, but when people start buying the lots,
There's,
before the lots are sold, or before this project goes forward, you know, that's a good point. I'd like to see, you know, a plot adjustment that includes the area where the trail is. That's because once someone buys something, well, I know if it's in the agreement, your solution would work also. You know, either way, but if we got it ahead of time, a plot line, I think that's what they call it, a plot line adjustment. Or lot adjustment line. Then when the lots are sold, people that are buying the lots, they know how much land they have and what they can do on that land.
I believe too, from what I've been told, that the lines that you see there for the industrial park are just kind of imaginary at this point, so nothing has been officially platted.
Yeah, if you look at,
That would be a good time to
Yeah.
do that, so.
if you look at this map. Yeah, north. Okay, so if you look at this map, right now. Say this right. Okay, yeah. So right here is where the rec center is. The police are using it now, right, Buck? The old rec center, the police are using it. So what's it called now?
Rec center.
Center.
Rec center. Okay, so this rec center, this lot here is owned, and it is a lot that I was told. But so far, there's just two big lots here. These are the only two official lots. The ones that Buck, that we were talking about here are not official. But eventually,
I don't think any of that's been surveyed, so.
so,
It's just kind of what they think it is. Yes, it's all estimates right now.
so Sherry. That's what you said. These are the only two, right? These two. These are the only two that are, these are two lots now. That's the only lots that are there.
Whatever's in pink is what the city owns. and
Okay. What's in pink, the city owns, and they also own that lot where the rec center is.
Which one of those lots did you want to get the acreage for? Or is it just a specific Camas field area? I'm Google
Well,
Maps up right now, so I can figure that out.
This, if you look at this map. This area that's light colored right here. This is the Camas fields right here, the light colored area is the Camas fields. Right here, and then there's a forested area right below it. And the old Boise Park is. See where it says Milton Creek, basically just to the right of where it says Milton Creek. Okay.
Well, we've gotten into the portions of the reserve located on city property. And it's with the third page with talking about the lot lines. We're talking about the size of the reserve and giving the value of the land. I mean, I'm thinking that, shoot for the, sky's the limit for it, and we can only be told no on it. There is also the 5-acre substation proposed somewhere. I don't believe they have a firm footprint for that. Do you know anything about that, Brandon? If
I heard there was a preferred location, but I'm not sure if that's still the case or not.
you know where that might be,
Um,
around the Camas Field?
Parking lot.
I think most of it was in the parking lot.
If you're facing the mill, facing the river, be the right hand side of the parking lot is what the last I heard. I don't know.
The parking lot for the rec center?
Huh?
Which parking lot?
That paper mill.
The paper mill,
Paper mill.
all the way down in the mill site.
So it's pretty much out with.
Yeah,
From what I remember,
mostly gonna be on the asphalt.
maybe a
section
little bit
And just a little bit,
infringed, but
yeah, past the road that goes back to the ACSP.
So where the road enters the parking lot. Just to the kind of the right there or to the right of that a little bit.
Would that take some of the vector control road that they use to go down?
I don't know that it would. I don't know how that would look, to tell you the truth, or how they would even access the ACSP property, because that would block that road, but Might have to
Goes all the way down to. the
reroute it. Yeah,
bridge.
yeah, and they haven't cut it this year. It's still pretty high. I was surprised. Usually they cut it.
Oh, and I just thought of something else. Should probably write this down. So if we're gonna have a trail, a loop trail. Probably the likely place to cross the creek right now. Is the railroad bridge. And. Two things have to happen. One, I assume we have to get, I don't know who owns that railroad bridge right now. I don't know if the city owns it or the. So if we wanted to use that as a way to cross the creek, we'd have to get permission to do that. And there'd also have to be some improvements probably made because there's some boards and things missing on
It's a little
that.
sketchy crossing that bridge, I can tell you.
You know, it's not too bad, but
Well, someone's in like in a wheelchair.
I
too.
don't know if,
Yeah, it's a little sketchy, yeah.
I had my son with me though, so I was probably a little bit more worried. than it should be.
Because eventually that'd be great, kind of what you call rails to trails, because you get as far as the railroad. That would lead you someday to be able to come all the way down here to the second channel.
yeah, we're looking eventually connect
that.
it all with the, and to the St. Helens Skipper's Trail too.
So Scott,
but the-
maybe that's one thing when we make the presentation, we need to talk about that. I know that Doug. Morton was really, one of the things he really wanted to see happen is down where Frogmore Slough is. You know, there's a bridge there too, a little sketchy there. I've never crossed that one. There's a barrier there, but cross the road and you could take the trail, I mean, you could take the railroad track all the way down to the.
But if I recall correctly, they need to
Yeah,
Have you crossed that bridge?
well, I thought I could connect to the water.
redevelop that in, so because they're having a issue with the flooding with what's there right now, because you were talking about the filling the pond in, and they wanted that embankment, they were talking about having to do something to shore that up a little more. Isn't that correct, Brandon?
I think that's just talk to at this point.
Yeah, but there is that issue, I think, is whether that is tenable with that. That what is there right now?
Wasn't there land north of the Boise property that belonged to the fire department or?
It's a little chunk, isn't there, by the sewage treatment plant?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think their time
Up by
was up
Ninth
or
Street.
something. They had it for so long. But I was wondering what was happening with that land. It might be able to be used as at least a trail that went through there to the Boise Park area.
Remember there was a little scuttle about that property, but I don't recall what currently was going on. I could look into it, see what. Heard much about it for a while. They're for a hot topic.
I think, should we discuss the our desired features that we'd like to see on the reserve if we be able to get this going? And this is our wish list of what we want. You've done, Lynn's presentation and with my presentation, we've, have I think identified most, if not all, the features.
My wish list would be ADA accessible. That'd be my number one. Not paved, obviously, but maybe like the McCormick Park Trail, that small grippy gravel. Yeah,
With I think with one of my presentations, my particular one was having an ADA trail right by the rec center along right there, something paved right there maybe. Not sure what is all involved with the having ADA accessible trail going beyond that with
most of it's 36 inches wide, so you can fit, like wheelchairs on certain incline. I'm not sure what the degree of incline. I know for wheelchair ramps, it's basically 1 foot for every 12 feet, basically.
yeah, I know.
10 feet.
Yeah,
Nick, you're probably up with this. So what, I've looked at ADA, what they're gonna put on the trails, So other than asphalt are concrete, can you actually, you can have, can you have
Compacted
a
gravel.
compacted
Yeah,
area?
as long as it's accept, like. Not like just dirt or anything, but it could be dirt that's compacted like clay or something like that. But it can have a bunch of potholes and it has to be more of a smooth surface. So that's why, like with McCormick Park, that gravel that they have there is ADA approved because you can still go through it. It's not too many potholes to where they'll tip over or fall. I know I've talked to Buck about the bridge, so sorry about that, Buck.
Were you looking to have the whole loop trail if we ever
I
comes?
mean, if possible, that just, like I said, that's my big wish. I don't want people with, different abilities to not be able to access it and enjoy it as much as we are. Giving them just like their own portion would almost, in my opinion, be kind of disrespectful just because like you're not good enough to go on our trail. You have your own smaller trail. And again, this could be just be me exaggerating and hyperbolizing, but I'd like to see if it's possible to have it wide enough and have enough slopage to where it's not.
Some places it's pretty rough.
Yeah, I know, and I know that, yeah.
So, or at least a big chunk of it, or would be, it'd be great if you could have a bridge far end, but it'd be great if we had a bridge part way down, so you don't have to do an entire loop to be able to cross it, maybe it'd just be part of the trail could be more ADA.
Yeah, and I know that like with the McCormick Park on one of the, I think it's hole 6, there's that little wetland area and they have a bridge that's built over it, just a small plank bridge. Something like that could probably be done, just have to drill into the rock and use some type of non-rotting.
Tree roots too.
Yeah.
So if they came in from the other side, that's much smoother. They
Mhm.
could get to the river.
Exactly, yeah. Just the ability to access all of the trail, maybe not all in one shot, but just have access to it all. That's my only wish. Other than having the trail.
I wanna mention something.
Okay.
I was considering maintenance because we don't have the staff or the funds to have bathrooms, to have picnic tables and garbage and all that. So my suggestion would just be to have donated memorial benches put in along the river at different points. And that way, it's just a matter of keeping the trail wide enough for ADA for anybody to get through.
Bikes.
We could,
Really hard, right?
yeah. We can, do it as, phasing through the whole thing when, eventually. We'll hope that the city gets out of its financial challenges. And, but we can, plan for the future. We can start with small and expand from that. Get an idea, maybe. Have a design that could have all the features, but only start with the small, like with the memorial benches to begin with.
Scott, Dina has her hand up.
Oh, sorry, Dina.
Go ahead,
That's
Dana.
okay. Yeah, I would really love to see sooner than later, around maybe the midpoint or deep enough on the trail, at least some form of restroom facility and garbage, even if it's something kind of like the state parks where it's more of a porta potty style, the in-ground, so no plumbing. But just
There is-
having sorry, what?
There is all the rock there, so it'd be tough to drill down for, a vault. type of
Okay.
Restroom. But there might
Okay.
be other ways around it. I'm not sure.
Okay, fair. But at least somewhere on the trail, especially considering the fact that it's far enough away from the main public street. My concern being that people just stepping off the trail to use the restroom, leaving trash throughout, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Good point.
And there might be some grants through the state of Oregon for ADA, like trail building
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
There is. So.
That type of restroom is probably the most maintenance you can possibly have.
the most maintenance.
You gotta
Yeah.
get a truck out there, suck it out.
You're not getting a truck out there.
I'm completely oblivious to the actual maintenance of it, and so yeah, but part of my
Yeah.
ignorance, but
We
anything.
need is a long hose.
Run a couple outhouses and stick them
Yep.
here and there.
So we're still on features. I mean, given what we had previously in the presentations, is there anything else that we could expand on? I don't have the presentations here. Um, I don't think we have time to go back. Just by memory. Anything else that anybody would like? To see within our proposal to the city council.
I'll toss my 2 cents in just on a few things. Keep in mind costs.
Yeah,
I mean, you start talking ADA, you're talking a lot of money.
yeah.
I understand the whole, everybody wants that and it would be great.
That's why it's a wish.
Also, yeah, but like Lynn said, the maintenance of it is gonna be huge. Keep in mind that our parks get trashed all the time with places that have trash cans, places that have restrooms. It's not, you're gonna be way off the beaten path. If you have trash cans, you're gonna have people digging through trash cans. And they'll just throw everything out to get 3 cans out of it, and they're not gonna put it back in. They'll steal the liners when it's raining to use them as sleeping bags or raincoats. It happens all the time. Vandalism is gigantic. You're out where no police are gonna see them, nobody's gonna be there. They're kind of hidden and they're gonna know it. So I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just saying, keep those things in mind and keep things kind of simple would be my request for now, and you could always build for later.
Yeah, we're not, I mean,
Your
this
footprint, yeah.
is our wish list, you know, the
Sure.
possibilities. With that, you know, there are people already camping out there, you know, on that both sides, and this, hopefully with this having, you know, develop it with a park, a reserve would, you know, help push that away.
Even in the preserve, don't like nature preserve, we're dealing with that all tonight.
Yeah.
We have to. eventually-
I know, but it's.
And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. I'm noticing more and more garbage, more and more cigarette butts. People just take their doggy bags and throw them next to a kiosk. There's a point out here that has 30-some bags piled up on the water.
Yes, but I mean, if these are people that, these are developed sites, so people see it and people are talking about it. Whereas back there, you know, there's not, people don't see it as much, and so,
Mhm.
you know, more stuff can happen. It's just that, you know, during the summer months, it can be really hot and dried out, that thing can go up, it's a tinderbox. So I mean, it's just a way of giving a little more safety. It's not an answer to everything, it's just, it helps.
Kind of on that same train of thought, I would just ask you to consider what's gonna set this aside from McCormick Park. Two parks right next to each other, we've got trails. And again, just talking about cost, playground equipment is very, very expensive. And consider that we have other parks where all the playground equipment has been removed. You've got Civic Pride where we've got no playground equipment. You've got Godfrey where there's not much anymore. So right next door to this, you've got a big, new, nice playground at McCormick. Is that something that you really need here? Yeah, maintenance is gonna be big, upkeep. I think that's important to consider.
Well, I'm not sure, I mean, whatever other people think, it's just, if you have a design, you know, for the future, it's just not everything. Just, it's a wish list. And, you know, you do, you know, a little bit and then see what happens in the future. You have that, like a master plan, but in miniature.
Well, I think the big thing is to get a commitment from the city and the Board of Columbia County on what they're willing to allow to be used for this project. You know, I think that's really the first step. I mean, I don't see this really happening for years down the line unless
Yeah,
there's some
that's it.
gigantic grant. But like Lynn has said, and a lot of people have said here, this is something we need to save for the future. So I think the number one priority should be to get where the Boise Park is, where the Camas Fields is, maybe you sit back from the creek and see what the county then is willing to do. The county seemed like they were really, I mean, excuse me, the Port of Columbia County. So I think the very first thing we need to do is get a commitment from the city and the port on, hey, yeah, we can use this. And then once we've got this, then, you know, we can kind of move forward. I think that is the very first priority, because if we don't have permission to use that area, it's all mute.
Yeah, I know.
Come up with the
It's
cart before
totally
the
mute.
horse.
So, you know, the city has to say, yeah, I think it's a great idea that we do have the historic Boise Park. I think it's a good idea that we save the Camas Meadow. I think it's a good idea that we save that little forested area, whatever. You know, and they say, and then the city sets it aside, and then they can start developing the lots that they want to develop too.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to approach the city about, you know, setting aside the land. But, we're trying to figure out the best approach to them would be. Whether, you know, start small and try to expand from there, whether, you know, it might be there, not there in the future, or start big and, with a, you know, a wish list. And then, have it narrowed down as you go along. And with the,
I can't help think that as many people that worked at Boise, that people in the town don't want that park saved, you know, I just, you know.
that's another thing that
Yeah.
we have on here, is that, identifying other stakeholders. Is, people like the young man that contacted Brandon, Patrick Berkeley, the CCA talked to, Dave Sass. He expressed interest in, you know, doing something down there with salmon, since he, you know, that's their thing. So, I think also with the more people that we get involved, you know, the, better chance we have of getting, you know, more of what we want than less. So. I think we have, you know, identified most of what we want. Just the approach that we're gonna be taking. And so. Seem to be dominating most of the conversation. So, anybody else have any input?
Sounded good to me.
Dana, do you have anything?
No, I think just respecting the current situation with the city, focusing on preserving the space, focusing on securing it for future use. And then, you know, seeing how things go within the next five years would really shape what we're able to do with it in the future. I very much agree with the sentiments that there's a lot of parks already in place in the city that are in desperate need of updates or improvements or just a little bit more attention. So having something to focus on that would drain a lot of money, where our other parks that are developed and utilized, leaving them out of the pictures, I think a disservice, but securing it for the long term is priority so that we can have it later, especially as that industrial area gets developed.
There was the issue, if I may, that Brandon brought up, having a park next to a park. How can we
Yeah, Forest Park, it goes on for miles.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a beautiful loop trail that connects and makes a huge interconnecting thing, that's livability, that's tourism, there's many things that come with
As
a neat park. area.
Jerry has said about, and Lynn, you know, that it's very worthy of preserving with all the older growth, not old growth, but older growth of.
So one of the things like Dana mentioned there is that, you know, what's St. Helens gonna be like in 20 years? You know, I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't look at Portland State, you know, how they projected St. Helens to go. So Brandon, have you looked at any of what St. Helens is, the population, what we're gonna be like in 15, 20, 30 years? But I can't help but think you look like it's Sherwood, you know.
Well, I mean,
like- like-
if we have the downtown development, that's gonna be a driver of bringing people in.
So I mean, eventually, I mean, I mean, I've been driving Highway 30 now for 50 years. And the last 2 or 3 years, it's just crazy, you know, how many people are on the road. And I can't help but think that St. Helens is really, you know, I think it's gonna grow naturally in the next 15, 20 years. You know, we'll be gone, but, you know, I don't know if I should have probably looked that up, but this town's gonna be a lot bigger. It's gonna need more things. And right now, we can't afford to build a new park. We can't afford to do any of this, but we can, we can get the land set aside for future growth.
Yes, that, and then also define what you would like to see in the future on that chunk of land.
You can ask.
As for what?
The land.
Yes.
Yeah, that's,
Not that you can get it, you can ask to get it. At this point, you're asking.
demanding.
We're trying
No.
to ask for some leverage. That's what we're looking at.
No,
So in the last 30 years, the population of St. Helens has increased 56%. That's from 94 to 2024. I just ran some quick numbers. So if we do another, I mean, another probably 50%, I'm assuming in the next 20 years. So let me see what that would run us to. This is as 2022 numbers. Around 21,000, 22,000 population. If it's the same steady growth, we could see a spike as the waterfront improvement, but
so in how many years would it be 20,000 people?
in 20 years. So
An
20,
increase of 20,000 people. So what's the population now?
as of 22, it was 14,369, but I'm pretty sure we're at 15,000 now.
You
So
said
it'll be
a
like
couple more
30,
says 15,000.
40,000 in another 20 years.
Yeah, well,
Scary thought. Oh, sorry.
We probably will be. We're, you know, we're 30 miles from downtown Portland.
40 minutes.
And like you say, once the waterfront gets developed, I mean,
It's
it's gonna be a very desirable place to live.
Yes,
Not that
especially
it's not now, but you know,
especially, you know, if you have an infrastructure like parks and that type of stuff.
bigger sewer lines.
Yeah, that too.
More electricity,
Yes.
those are all the limits factory.
Well, and if I can't help but think about the attractive element for future possible developers in the area, to have a nice walking area for the use of people on their breaks and whatnot as the industrial area grows. It could be, you know, utilized as something that could be attractive to potential developers.
Yeah, have them like the port, whoever owns the port, see if they're willing to, I mean, again, it's an ask, but help develop it with their own funds too, for the sake of their employees. I know that's a huge, like, maybe, but
I'm not sure what, you know, with the that particular parcel over there.
yeah.
Since, you know, it's kind of out of the way. And I do not know of any ideas of in development over there whatsoever.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, that would be,
Miracle.
well, it's starting from scratch, let's say, in that perspective.
but it could happen on the city property. It's probably gonna happen. It already is
So
happening.
what I'm kind of hearing right now is just let's set aside the land and not develop or do anything yet with features.
I mean, we know we want a trail, you know, and in the very beginning, it can be a rough little trail that just gets people to appreciate the area more, to want to protect it more.
Set the foundation before we put up the frame kind of thing, you know?
To me, the main thing is we just get the land set aside.
Yeah, but I mean, to get the land set aside, I'm thinking, as I said, leverage. You know, if we have, you know, grand ideas, you know, and then, you know, trying to get them on board with the grand
Oh, yeah.
ideas. Plus, if we get, you know, the word out there, you know, of the possibilities, like going to maybe have an article written in the Chronicle or something to that media, let people know, you know, what's there and, you know, how what would they like to be done to it, or if anything. I mean, just
Yeah, I was
trying to
hoping,
get, you know, people on side.
I was hoping some people would show up today, some citizens.
I don't
I think
think,
I was the only one that would show up to these and I was this.
Okay.
And to kind of answer a comment about the differentiator for McCormick Park, like Mr. Sundin was saying. McCormick Park is really like family oriented, playground structures loud, a lot of things happening, and maybe it could be like a peaceful walk with the Milton Creek. I'm not saying not to be family, have families come, but could be like a Bear Roots Trail, as you were saying, or just something that's more focused on peace and nature rather than festivities and loud noises and things like that.
And Nick, on that, I don't know if you've walked the port property, but quite a ways, there's all these little quarries and there's
I think I
absolutely
went
a
with
couple,
Scott.
absolutely beautiful areas back in there. And, you know, like you say, people just walk and explore back there. I mean, it'd be it's a wonderful nature walk back in there.
Very peaceful.
I mean, it's just like,
But one of the city staff said to me one time, they were so surprised when they went back there the first time, that was like not being in a city. It was so quiet and beautiful.
Yeah.
it's just an environment you don't really get around here.
A lot of birding back there now, so.
I mean, I mean, again, it'd like be like a miniature forest park.
Yep.
Or a little version of it
With quarries.
with course, yeah.
You guys ever walk it when the mill was in operation?
No,
I've been to the
I'm just
park.
curious how.
How loud it would be.
yeah, that mill was loud at
Well,
times.
it's only running two machines now. It's not running everything, so it's gotta be way quieter.
You mainly hear the river as you're walking along it, so.
Mhm.
And
Well, the
you're
freighters
looking at
fun.
everything, you know, there's so many native plants there too.
And you know, one thing I mentioned that is the creek that's an absolute beautiful section of the creek. It's got several little waterfalls,
Yeah,
not big ones, but you know, one waterfall, several rapids, you know, pretty cool. You know, it's,
Lynn, you've identified flora and fauna in there, correct? Are there any type of rare things that?
Yes, there was, we took pictures of all of them as we went through. And according to our naturalist, she thought there were some that you really don't see anymore and they've been taken over by building.
That's,
Beyond plowing fields.
that's more leverage right there. It's just, you know, to preserve.
Maybe if we create a presentation, we can bring that into play and just say, hey, you know, these types of flowers, they're rare. All the natural flowers that we have that we want to keep, and then ones we probably want to remove, because I know when we did the walkthrough, we kind of identified some invasive species there. There's a lot of poison oak out there for sure.
Yes, and there is a couple of holly trees.
poison oak's not invasive.
No,
Okay.
it's the native.
Don't-
I learned that about 2 years ago, because there's just a ton of it in.
Poison
Yeah,
ivy
in the
is invasive, right? Poison ivy,
We don't really have that out here either.
not much at least, you know.
The other thing with poison oak is when it goes up a tree, sometimes different creatures like to nest in those trees.
Yep.
We once got rid of some on a tree and then realized, uh-oh, all the nests that were in the tree went away.
Be a hard sale to say, hey, we have a lot of poison oak here. We should keep it reserved, but.
I wouldn't go with that.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Control what's right next to the trail.
Yeah.
People shouldn't be.
Full hazmat suit. So that's
So-
what, that was my point with the being peaceful.
So Scott, do we
We
want to make
reserve-
it?
Reserve the land, and then we do an incremental approach with, you know, what we'd like, and then like a trail or benches and signage, something, you know, because we also have the component of prehistoric and historic components on it. Plus, you know, the flora and fauna that we're talking about. Maybe get signage out there also just for educational purposes. And that seems like, you know, a rudimentary and, you know, less impactful way of proceed or starting it out.
So, you know, I'm ready to call this meeting over, but I'm not the chair. You know, but I think before we go, you know, we need to decide, you know, how we're gonna approach the Port of Columbia County and how we're gonna approach the city.
I have a
And-
list of potential follow-up actions, and next steps here, if you.
Okay.
On the. We're getting, we have maps here that you and Lynn had acquired for us.
Mine had marked off areas, so I don't see that.
But I
Okay.
can send that to.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
it'd
one of your maps.
be nice to get, you know, a little better maps maybe with things partitioned off, and also looking at what we're trying to ask for. Also on these steps that I put together, getting photos, we've gotten photos from Lynn, Jerry and I. Lynn, you did a survey, had a survey done on the property, I think you said.
A survey?
Yeah. I'm not. There was a survey conducted. You had somebody do that? I'm not sure.
Talking about the flowers.
A survey for what?
I'm not sure. You just said survey, so that's why I'm trying to clarify.
I know, I was interested in what we could find for the flora that's in the area. But
Or you did say that, you've been making a list of creatures and animals, and flora and fauna that you've seen in here. Is that what you said? Not a huge one,
just
but you're just
flora.
noting it. Okay.
Yeah, and then an outline of. It was a red outline of what maybe we could preserve. I can send that out if you'd like. Again.
Sure, that'd be great. Then we're looking, I was thinking about, you know, will we have any issues with, you know, the city planning and all that, so. I can check that out. I'm just looking, you know, for, you know, doing some actions here before our next meeting. So we can try to get this going with, was thinking about gathering the information that we've done previously, Lynn and I, and in these meetings, and putting it together for a very rudimentary skeletal first draft of what we could approach the council for. We'll try to get that done for September meeting. Is that all right with everybody? Looking to, you know, identify, be nice to have somebody identify budget and resources for this initial start that we're looking at. Anybody interested in looking into that?
I wouldn't even know where to begin to look, to be honest with you.
Dana, would you be willing to research that a little bit?
I do not currently have the bandwidth to take on something like that at this time, just considering the season that we're in with work.
Okay,
I have my plate is very, very full for the next 2 months.
okay.
You mean like for a budget, like creating a trail, that kind of thing?
Yeah, get an idea of, you know, what is out there. I mean, I've looked at it, and state parks. They wanted like a 20% match. They give up 80% on it, on
Okay.
building trails. That was where I looked at it initially. There's also looking at the historic and prehistoric components, and I was wondering if Brandon, if you could look into that or have Les look into that or something like that.
I don't think there's a lot
You know,
left to find, but
yeah, well, I mean, also, kind of like looking at a background, how they extracted the, for coring and that type of stuff, for, their pig coring over there. And maybe where, the final destination was it, and the process of extracting and transporting it. Just, get us basic rundown, I think, the Historic Society might have some of that.
$7 a foot or $30,000 a mile of heavy equipment is required. That's as of trailism.com, so I don't know how reliable that is.
When I was looking at it for trail building, it didn't seem to be that much, and they were using volunteers and
Yeah, Piers and
they could do a half a mile and sometimes up to a half mile in a day.
you can get enough volunteers out there, yeah.
Yes, but if we're not looking at, initially looking at just a cut trail, it's,
No gravel or anything, just footpath only kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah, gotcha.
like a, what you see more like in Forest Park, that type of, or any of the trails. I don't know with, what was looking at gathering more environmental information with flora and fauna, that what Lynn was saying. I don't know how much you have. I mean, we didn't.
I've given average. But one thing that I was gonna start on is, later on, I'd be interested in finding out if, the end down there where the Native American village would be, could be a heritage site, and also it'd be nice to rename that area. One of their, a name that comes from the Chinook. And lately I've heard a lot of information about that area. And so, but that's down the road. I mean, we've got to find out more, but that's all.
Any other steps anybody else can think of? On that? We have the port side. And also stakeholders engagement and communications I'm just gonna skip down to number 4. We were discussing that earlier. Talking about what I was talking about there is just how and when, with communications with CCA and media. What we're looking at. I'm looking for people to, take some of these actions like that, and draw together a stakeholder list. You interested in that, Nick?
Yeah, I just need step by step on what you're thinking, and I can get that somewhat knocked out for drafting communications. So like reaching out to,
Stakeholders, identifying stakeholders, media, how best to approach that. I mean, it's, just,
Scott, one thing I'd be willing to do, I don't know if this fits into what you want done, but I'd be willing to talk to the Port of Columbia County. Just kind of an informal talk. Just to see, tell them what we did here, this is, we're thinking. And, just see what their thinking is also.
we want to have them maybe come to one of the meetings, like submit a request to have someone from the port come in on one of our next meetings to see if that's, someone, there are any issues like.
I think you might want to just kind of make it a little more informal.
Informal, okay.
Yeah, I think like,
You wanna give me that task, I'd be willing to take that task on.
okay,
I'll just tell them what we discussed here
that'd be great.
and see what their thinking is.
my thoughts are regardless of what the port does, this is still something that you want to do as a commission on our side.
Yes.
They can say tomorrow, we're not interested anymore. This is still something that you want to pursue for the city property.
Yes.
I would encourage that to be the focus at this point.
Yeah,
You know, they could jump on it quicker than the city.
But also,
If we don't
if
ask.
we have port interest in it, it also gives us leverage with the city. So it's kind of you know, the interrelate, so. But yes, the focus should be, I think, on the city side initially. You know, still keeping the other components, you know, the other folks or possible components in the loop because they might have some input that you know, might steer us in a different direction.
I'm just taking notes right now, I'm not texting, just.
Um,
You know, with, you wanted to go like the Chronicle route or something like that. It is gonna cost money to get anything published, so I'm not sure if there's budgeting or trying to see if there's.
I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, talk to one of the, maybe a reporter, that this is what we're looking to do.
So they can do like a story or
Yeah,
something.
do a story on it.
Gotcha.
There's a good guy with the spotlight.
You wanna send me the information?
I could ask Caroline, but.
Yeah, if you want to too, that's fine, yeah. Don't want to step on any toes as well.
We gotta best run it through the city too.
Yeah.
Anybody we can.
City property.
Contact, yeah.
I would encourage you before you do that to talk to Crystal. see
Yeah.
Communications.
Okay.
You may have ideas.
What's Crystal's last name?
King.
Okay.
Does anybody else have anything to say?
I disagree with Brandon that I think we need to concentrate on getting it area first. Bring it up to city council, get a yay or nay.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'll send that map out.
makes sense. I'm just trying to get us, you know, as much leverage as possible to get, you know, get a yay rather than a nay.
Do we have a social media or just the Parks and Trails Commission, like a Facebook or Nextdoor?
No, I've tried,
Okay.
been trying to, you know, do something on that.
Would we need to like have city permission for that, since it would be?
Well, what I ran up against is that they have to, curate it. That costs money.
Mhm. Because we post on our own social medias.
Anything like that, there's a significant cost involved because everything, since it's a city entity, it has to be archived and. preserved
Gotcha,
for
that makes
100
sense.
years.
Yeah.
Would there be anything wrong if we posted on our own social media about Parks and Trails Commission? I don't have social media, but.
That would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
on a personal level.
But I'm not sure, I mean, I don't think the curating is that great of a cost, I think. I don't know for sure, but it's like $150 to $250 annually or something like that for curating. But I mean, I vaguely remember that as the costing, so I'm not sure.
I
But it
think
would
the
be
big
nice.
thing- Big thing city council is gonna wanna see initially is a map, with a potential line drawn.
Yeah.
How many acres it's gonna involve. I think those are gonna be the first
So,
big things.
yeah, that's, Jerry, you want to do the maps? No?
Well, I've had difficulty dealing with,
I've got it.
With the,
you have
All
the
of it.
acres and everything.
Now they know where it's at and what they want to do.
I could work with you on just Google Maps and just get just a distance of what the trail would look like and the total acreage involved. I'm just not too good at transposing this map onto
Okay.
Google Maps, but I could work with you directly.
When you say work with me, that means that you're gonna get the Google map.
Yeah, I'll just like I'll sit with you and trail.
Lynn has a map too.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I
it
can see
doesn't
what
have
that
the,
looks.
it doesn't have the, we need, you know, we need the actual acreage on there,
Mhm.
you know.
Be figured out by.
And if you're gonna go through
Well-
the city for maps or things like that, do it through me, okay? Just kind of streamline it, cause there was confusion when Jerry came in on where to go, who to go where and what to do, and so just do it through me and that will simplify it.
That's probably more accurate than Google Maps, I'm assuming.
We have pretty good maps if you get up into engineering and get into it.
Well, then. Probably the easiest thing to do here would be to say, hey, Buck. Talk to the city to get us, you know, a map with the acreage on it. Cause he works for the city. Like I said, I came in and talked to the city. I just walked in. They've made maps for me for years. And they told me, no, you gotta go through the proper chain of command. And, you know, Buck is the proper chain of command, so he's at the top of the chain of
Commander
command.
right here.
So Buck, I mean, my gut reaction to this is, hey, Buck. You know, tell the city that, you know, request the city to, you know.
I'm not telling you.
I'm not telling anyone, but request the city, you know, for the map, because I would, you know, I'd go to you.
Well, give me the best one of those that you have that shows exactly what you want, or even if you take a Sharpie and just draw a line around it, what you want, then I will. Give you the best.
So I'll just send it to you.
Send it to me and then I'll go upstairs and see what.
And you'll be able.
maps I can get.
Well, it wasn't.
Can we just send you a globe?
Pardon?
Just send you a globe.
No, it's. This is the part of that.
So-
Cleaned up.
I'll start in on the presentation, bring it in. Send it to you guys prior to our next meeting, and then we can go from there. And then you get back to me on these few actions. That'd be great. Anybody else have anything to put in?
So Scott, specifically, what's gonna happen now? I'm gonna talk to the county, I mean, the Port of Columbia County, Bucks. And Lynn are gonna work on getting a map.
Yeah, I'm gonna do also try to flora and fauna that it's already been done.
Okay.
And just actually just putting together what we've done previously, pretty much. And then
So we're not gonna talk to the county, the city administrator or anything else.
I don't think we would need to right now. Anybody else think we should before
Okay.
we have the
No,
We want to have a
outline?
unified plan before we probably take that step. I mean, no, it's pretty much there.
Yeah. Does anybody else have anything they want to say? All right, forever hold your peace. Adjournment.